Today we begin our summer sermon series entitled The Best Ideas. The Best Ideas. I've never done a sermon series like this. I'm really excited about it. We'll see what happens. It might be the worst sermon series on the best ideas. I hope not. It's enkindled with the theme for the year, a sense of faith. It's connected to that theme, a sense of faith. And in my thinking about this for the last several months, it went like this. There are 7 summits on this planet, the highest points on each continent. And if you climb the 7 summits, you're quite renowned. It's a significant thing to do. It's a wonderful thing to do. In fact, that was my first mountaineering book I ever read by Dick Bass about the 7 summits back in the 80s. Wonderful story of summiting the 7 summits, the 7 highest places on each continent. And in a similar way, by way of analogy, if there are 7 high places on this planet, the highest points on each continent on this planet, you could say these are the standout places to go and visit, to see, and to climb. In a similar way, by way of analogy, you could say perhaps there are 7 best ideas, 7 high points of the human journey so far that we've discovered or created. What if there were 7 best ideas on this planet? Well, we've got longer than 7 weeks to go, so I said, let's do 15. So we'll be exploring 15 of the best ideas. Now, of course, this is my perspective, but I hope to be a good salesperson and share with you what I think are some of the best ideas that human beings can ponder. Now, why is this important? As the scriptures indicate, human beings are free to place our attention wherever we want to place it. You are totally free to think about whatever you want to think about. And one of the most amazing liberty experiences I've ever experienced was the moment I realized that my mom didn't know what I was thinking. That my teachers didn't know what I was thinking. And that's a very amazing gift, that unless you have telepathy, you don't know what other people are thinking. We are totally free to think whatever we want to think. We're not totally free to say whatever we're thinking. And it can be quite detrimental if you say what you're actually thinking. Freedom of thought is powerful. It's also powerful because if you've been an enslaved person or a tortured person, you know firsthand. If you've been an abused person, you know that they can abuse your body, but they cannot change what you are thinking. They have no power over what you're thinking unless you give it to them. So it's incredible power. It's an incredible freedom that we all have. The other reason I think this is so important, as the scriptures indicate, if you can have the mind of Christ, if you can think about the highest level things possible that is possible for a human being to think about, it also follows that you could think about the lowest things possible that a human being can think about. And just by way of example, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. Against these there's no law. If you think about the fruit of the Spirit, it's extraordinary where your life will go. If you think about the deadly sins, for example, if you think about those energies that run on human being systems, like gluttony and anger and lust, for example, or greed or hatred or murder, these types of very low-level energy thoughts that are on our systems, like viruses. If you think about those things, what ends up happening? The truth is, we become what we see. We be what we see. And the very essence of the Greek word for idea is to see. The Greek root of the word idea, ideos, means to see, to perceive, to form, to shape, to create, to participate in your reality of what you're thinking about. As what we think in mind happens in kind, is the phrase. And so our thoughts are so powerful. And in an era like we live in today, in a moment of history like we live in today, where our attention is the most precious commodity, and reels and little video shorts are like 3 seconds. If you don't keep people's attention, you've lost them. Where attention is the most precious commodity, what you think about is so powerful. It's very easy in our culture today to get weighed down by the ideas that we're hearing and seeing and participating in. Ideas run the world. Sex doesn't run the world. Ideas run the world. Power doesn't really run the world. Ideas about power run the world. If you think about it, ideas, like Plato said, are the structure of reality, the form of forms. They are what is most important. It's not this lectern that's real, it's the idea of a lectern. Aristotle disagreed with him. He said you wouldn't know what the idea of electron was unless you had an electron in front of you. So this has been a long-term war of ideas. But it's something's very true about this, that the ideas are at the fundamental form of reality. They shape power, they shape reality, they shape the world. And most importantly, ideas shape our experience of the world, and they shape the experience that we have of one another. What we think about another person, the ideas we have about each other, run this world. As our ideas go, so the world will follow. And so, by way of introduction, today I'm not going to talk about one of the great best ideas. I'm just wanting to set the introduction. I wanted to also draw a contrast, because the best ideas are offset by the worst ideas. And if you're wondering what the practical use of a series on the best ideas might be, all you have to do is look at a few of the worst ideas that human beings have had, and you see it's very important that we as a community give our attention to the best ideas and pay zero attention to the worst ideas, like anti-Semitism, one of the worst ideas in human history, anti-Semitism. Hatred of another people group because of who they are. Anti-Semitism is the most long-lasting human history on this planet. It's the worst idea. It's one of the worst ideas on this planet. And how it can still gain traction in an era of the understanding of DNA, understanding of the cosmos, I don't understand. All I can say is ideas are very, very powerful. And if a nation or a people group or a city or a family gives in to certain ideas, the whole world can go to war. Ideas, friends, are very, very powerful. Ideas like slavery. Slavery, whatever continent you've been on in the history of humankind, slavery existed. Sugar plantations, tobacco plantations, cotton plantations in the Americas took slavery to a whole new level, and we still live with that specter, the fruit of that idea. But it was not just a white idea. It was not just a North American idea. Every single civilization has believed in the idea of slavery. It's a horrible idea. It profits a very few, and many, 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 many people's lives are ruined for the few. Bad ideas are all around us. Perhaps your spouse has said, honey, that's a really bad idea. And, I discovered that taking the 4x4 up toward Black Bear Pass was a really, really bad idea. So, bad ideas are all around us. What we want to focus on are the best ideas that we can give our attention to, and how our lives can be shaped by these ideas in enhancing, inspiring ways. And so, just 4 little things to think about today in terms of introduction to this series. The first is that ideas on the first level are informational. Ideas can be informational, and we all are gathering information from all sorts of different sources. Ideas come by way of information. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, thank you for informing me about that. I didn't know about that idea. Ideas are information. The second aspect is that ideas can be inspirational as well as informational. They can be inspirational. They can be ideals, not just an idea. An ideal like going to the moon, or an ideal like defending children who are sold into sex trade or slavery. That's an idea worth fighting for, worth dying for. Ideals are inspirational. They can be informational, inspirational. They can also be, this is really profound, transformational. And every now and again, a transformational leader arises on this planet. A transformational idea arises on this planet. And by leader, I don't mean just in the realm of politics. I mean in the realm of everything. Like, for example, those few men, primarily, who were working on the deepest mysteries of all, the idea of what is at the heart of reality, Albert Einstein and the quantum theories, relativity and quantum theory at the turn of the 20th century. These ideas changed our world. They were totally transformational, and they've opened up huge dimensions of understanding the cosmos and our place in it. Ideas can be transformational. And by that I mean, for a long time when you looked up into the sky, most people thought that the stars were basically it. But they had no comprehension that our little solar system was one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of billions of solar systems in the known universe. So just that one idea that the solar system isn't alone is transformational, and it changes our whole perspective of our existence. Ideas can be informational, inspirational, transformational. And then lastly, this doesn't rhyme, I couldn't figure a rhyming word. Ideas can be great companions, faithful friends. And this summer I'm going to share with you some of my best friends. Ideas. Ideas never change. They're stable, they're rock solid, they love me, they give to me, they are endlessly faithful. Ideas are with me day after day when I wake up, when I go to bed. These powerful ideas are my friends, and I hold on to them and they hold on to me. Ideas can be the most powerful friends in the world. When no one else befriends you, you can hold on to an idea and it will guide you and comfort you and speak to you. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned, and hopefully at the end of the summer you can give me feedback and say, I now know what you meant, that a great idea can be a great friend. And I suspect many of you have great friends, you just never thought about it in that way. What are your best ideas? I want to conclude with that question. What are your best ideas? Because ideas are oftentimes expressed as controlling thoughts. We could just put it that way. And controlling thoughts lead to feelings, dominating feelings. And feelings lead to actions. So if you want to change, you've got to go deeper than your feelings. You've got to go down deep into your ideas, your thoughts. Ideas shape our controlling thoughts every single day, which shape our feelings, which shape our behavior. And this gets very personal, because many of us have been wounded by life and by other people, the ideas we believed about ourselves. This is very, very practical. So I'm not meddling. I'm just going to tell you myself. When I was a little boy, I picked up the idea that I wasn't good enough. I picked up that idea. Anyone else pick up that idea? You don't have to raise your hand. But I don't think it's an uncommon thing. I don't think it's an uncommon idea. You're not good enough. And it came to me in many different ways, from not so much my mother, a little bit my father, but my father was dealing with his own shame, so he was just projecting his inadequacy onto me. But it came from my friends, my neighbors. No really harm on their fault, they were just different. They had affluence, we did not. And I didn't fit in exactly. I couldn't do the things that they did. Couldn't take the trips that they did. We never went to Disney World. We didn't get the new computer. I didn't get the new bike, and I was different from them. I didn't feel like I fit in. And then it became much more pernicious as I grew, because then you begin to see you're not tall enough. You don't have enough muscle. You're not big enough like these guys who play on the football team. You're not fast enough. You can't run the 400-meter relay. Well, what are we going to do with you, Peter? Why don't you go be a pole vaulter? That's what they put the guys who they don't know what to do with. They go, go be a pole vaulter. Because they don't expect you to actually succeed in pole vaulting. But the point is that these ideas started to seep into me over time. And I took them with me into adulthood, young adulthood. And it shaped my life in ways I couldn't see, in my choices, in my self-pity, in my loathing, in my behavior, of not believing I was worthy of getting what I wanted, of deserving of getting what I wanted, settling for second or third or fourth best. And these ideas were very controlling until I began to wake up and realize I don't need to believe that. But it wasn't the idea that I first struggled with. It was the behavior, the acting out from my insecurities that first got my attention. I said, oh, dear me, I'm the common denominator. This thing keeps happening over and over and over again. I need to look at this. Why am I doing this? It's because I'm feeling this. Why am I feeling this? Oh, my gosh. It's because I believe this idea about myself. Well, where did that come from? Why did I think that idea was true or good or believable? Out you go. In comes a new idea. I'm going to claim the mind of Christ for me. I am worthy, I'm good, I'm faithful, I'm true, I am blessed, I'm a unique human being made in the image of God. Nothing can separate me from the love of God. I am Peter Traben Haas. And I am free to be who I am. And there's not another one like me. I'm not good enough. I'm better than good enough. Because God created me just like this, to be me. And everything about my life is useful and can teach me something. That, my friends, is just a simple little psychological example of how ideas are powerful in our personal lives. What are the ideas that run on your system? That's the homework for this week. Look at your system, your emotional and intellectual system, and examine what are the ideas that are underneath running like a program on your computer. And perhaps there's some ideas that are more like a virus than a wonderful program like Microsoft Word, doing you great good. But that virus is doing you great harm. Let's do this week. Explore what ideas are controlling your life. What ideas, if you bow down to and believe without thinking about them, you maybe absorbed them from childhood. And then if you feel you've done enough for that inward looking, then look out and say, what ideas are running this world right now? See if you can see the ideas. Evaluate them. Discover them. Play with them. And see what's happening in our world. You've heard what I've had to say. Let's take a moment in the silence and allow the Spirit to complete the message for you today. Amen.